Greetings chosen, I've been waiting here for you since the beginning of this universe. You know the world is fading. There's a secret power hidden in your soul. Don't be afraid to use it. There are voices in your head saying that you're a failure. You're not good enough, but you know that's not true. There is a secret power hidden in your soul. Don't be afraid to use it, 'cause you're the one.
We're all living in America, America, it's wunderbar. We're all living in America, Coca-Cola, sometimes police sting operations on ladies painting nails in their houses.
From Acapulco, Mexico, this is Anarchast.
Greetings, beauticians. Welcome back to Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I am Patrick Smith. If you've asked yourselves things like, I really want to help change the world, but what can I do? There's a lot of different types of activism, but many of them are pointless or ineffective. Politics. But what can I do that will actually make a difference? Well, we're gonna tell you. You may not like the answer. With that said, welcome to the show, Murdoch Pizgatti. Murdoch is one of the world's greatest street activists, co-founder of Don't Comply, and new star on the Monkey Torture live streaming network. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me today, sir.
So, the first question I have to ask you here is, how did you become an anarchist?
I think I was always one from as far back as I can remember. My mother taught me how to question what was going on, question authority, and know that if I was in the right, then there was nobody that could back me down. And that took me quite a ways until I think probably when I was young and was in Waco and watched the Mount Carmel murders of the ATF, and that really kind of sealed the deal on the fact that the government really will just murder babies if they feel like it. And, that kind of removed all other questions that, unknowns that were out there.
So the government made you an anarchist. It's the answer, right? It sounds like it.
That's how that happens.
What was that like for you? Like, were you there? How close were you to it? Like,
I was living in Waco and I watched it on the local news. I saw the tanks coming, knocking down the walls and pulling back out with fire shooting from the ends of the barrels. I never saw that footage again, but I saw it live in Waco from the local news.
Wow. There's a Netflix documentary out on that I think is trending number 3 in the world or country right now, actually, which is probably not something that they're fond of having happen. What was the name of the documentary? I don't remember. What is it?
It's just called Waco.
Waco.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I have not yet seen it either. Yeah, maybe we should do a commentary on that sometime. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to have you on the show was because recently this image popped up in my feed, and this is this is so iconic, so inspirational, and so everything that is right and that should be happening when people trying to figure out how to do activism. And I wanted to bring you on the show. I wanted to talk about what happened, what you did, and what I just want people to appreciate this image. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about this story by now, where places are getting forcibly shut down over La Rona, And someplace, I mean, like there's a, like I said in the intro, there's like a sting operation by police where they, I don't know if it was a raid, but they called it a sting operation where they busted some ladies painting nails or cutting hair or something inside of their own house, in the free country of America, right? And then this happened recently in Dallas, and I mean, it made a lot of news. And this image is basically a man, you standing there with a weapon while the police were there to basically shut down this nail salon. And so I wanted to have you go through maybe the details of the story, what happened. So let's start there. Like, can you tell us like what happened?
You can actually see that I'm live streaming from not only my phone, but the camera, like I have on my shoulder here too, from 2 points of contact. Yeah.
Nice.
So this is part of my whole new situation here. I'm going to be wearing a live streaming camera at all hours, 24/7. But yeah, so more to the point of that story. So we were there trying to defend a lady who said she would stand up to the king's decree to shut down these salons. And, to start with, hairstylists and all of the nail techs, they go through a lot of training and certifications in college classes so that they understand sanitary conditions and how to not, spread germs. So, they're already experts at it. And so this lady defies the king's order and opens up her shop. Well, we all go to defend that lady's right to do that. And upon arriving, the next door tenant was a pet groomer who had business coming in and out. And she remarked several times about how terrible it was that the salon was opening because it was against the law. And, that always irks me a bit when people fall back to the law being equal to morality, which it is not. And so, we all came out, we, in our general manner that we normally do here in Dallas, which is armed. And, ultimately, I think it's not like we're looking for an armed standoff. It's not like that we're looking for any type of escalation at all. Here's a video of him blocking the police from coming in that I took when I was live streaming. Who
was that guy?
That's her boyfriend, Tim.
Okay.
And he was armed as well. We were all pretty much armed there that day.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And so really, I believe in my street activism and all of the events that we've done that are with armed people, with big groups of them. We're looking for the opposite of confrontation. We're looking for the opposite of escalation, because that's what happens when you're not armed. Police escalate situations when they know they have the upper hand, when they are able to push you around and they can bully you. That is what we try to avoid by showing up armed, because when we do that, when we show that we can't just be pushed to the side, a different thing happens. Conversation happens. They decide to dialogue. They decide to have a conversation with you. And that is exactly what everybody wants in these situations. They want that moment to talk, because you can find some common ground with another human when you're actually talking to each other. And many times you've seen the videos of police brutality and protests, of unarmed protests, of them pepper spraying everybody, of them pushing them back, of them just throwing their weight around with their weapons. But when everybody's fully armed, that never has happened. Go back and look at all of our events that we've done. We've done many, many, many events for years, well armed. There's never been a case where they start pushing everyone around.
Give us a quick rundown of your events, because your method of activism, and I think, has been wildly successful. So like start at the beginning and give us a quick rundown.
of all the events, sure. We had a kind of a start in about 2013 in the gun rights field of activism, and we did a big open carry event, the Come and Take It Temple event, and we had about 500 people show up. We had live music, vendors, great barbecue, and then we went and encircled the police station with 500 plus armed men, and we were trying to send a message about the way that they were treating people that were armed, walking around with their rifles, how we should be allowed to do, which is law, which is legal in Texas. And they were harassing them for doing what is legal. And that's where we had an issue with it. And we took it on and confronted it head on. And we had to retrain every officer in every town that they continued with this new attitude here in Texas until they stopped.
Okay.
We further went to San Antonio, where there was a big issue. We had a huge event at the Alamo. We held off the Bureau of Land Management on the Red River whenever they were trying to take the land like they did with the Bundys. We've done just numerous ones left and right where we're well armed and that we show up with a lot of people. And in all those conversations, no gunfights broke out. You know, everyone thinks that we're looking for the boogaloo to happen in these situations, but we're not. We're looking for the opposite. We're looking for peace. Same way that when the United States and Russia and all of the countries were in the Cold War, when we finally reached that point where everybody could annihilate everyone, talks started happening, and the Cold War was up. I mean, it's human nature to bully. The powerful bully those that are defenseless. And when people can defend themselves, different things happen.
Okay, so in this situation, we have the whole La Rona thing happening, and then there's this tyrannical judge in Texas that's been issuing all sorts of just fantastical, just disgusting, tyrannical decrees, shutting things down without consent, obviously. And then, so what happened with the Salon? This lady had just basically had enough. She needs money. Her livelihood had been destroyed. And so literally all that she did, correct me if I'm wrong, because you talked to her, was she just opened her business. She just opened the door for anybody that wanted to voluntarily take the risk of coming to get their hair cut or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's it. She just let people come inside one at a time in a very sanitary condition. A lot more sanitary, a lot more prepared PPE and precautionary measures taken than every Walmart, every single Home Depot, Lowe's, and all of the stores I've been in. I've been in hundreds of stores since the quarantine. I've been in and out. I've been in and out of emergency rooms. She has had more precautions taken than at least half a dozen emergency rooms that I've went and audited.
Oh, we can talk about your actual day job as well later. So
yeah,
that'll be some interesting information. But okay, so the judge decreed that that this business be shut down. She defied that decree. She opened her doors, and you heard about this, and the cops showed up, and tell us why did you go there that day armed? Describe your activism. Why do you do it, and how is it effective?
I had heard about it just the day before she was planning on doing it. And, the same thing struck me when I went on the first event that I created, the first event for CJ Grisham. Both Shelly and CJ are fairly centered people that are almost normies. Shelly's father is a 27-year Marine gunner. She's grown up in a very pro-American, pro-Army, pro-police environment. And, this is a situation that's so bad across the country that these people are finally defying the law, that they're finally fed up and saying, no, I think America was supposed to be a little different than this. And they're doing something about it. And I think these are the people we need to support even more, because for them to take that step is a very big step. And it's probably the biggest one that they will ever take, because after that, it's kind of a nice slippery slope down. It kind of goes downhill once you open that door. And I think we need to support these people, not just call them out for any infractions of the way that she was pro-police, that she talked about, how much she knows they're doing their job and all these. I don't think we need to harp on that at all as a community. We need to find the good points and run with those, because these are the people we should hold up to the cameras and to the light, because they are not the fringe crazy people in our community. They are the ones that will help bring the rest of the world and the normies onto our side, into our philosophy.
Yeah, I was just talking to Larkin about this. I've got a halo from this new background. I was just talking to Larkin about this literally yesterday. We recorded a 40-minute exclusive interview for his supporters. FYI, if anybody's not supporting Larkin, go check out therosechannel.com. But one of the things he brought up was exactly what you just said, is like it gives a lot of hope to see these normies identifying actual government overreach on these things. Like, let's talk about Feed the Need briefly, because I can't imagine no one hasn't heard of it at this point. I brag on it constantly because it's one of the most teachable moments of any activism I've seen. But this was a Don't Comply thing that you guys came up with. This Don't Comply is your group of activists that you co-founded. And I'm proud and humble to run with you guys as often as I possibly can. But it's illegal to feed the homeless. It's illegal to feed the homeless in Texas. It was completely illegal. I think it was like 4 years ago or something like that. You couldn't even go into a McDonald's and buy a burger and bring it out and hand it to somebody, that without a license. And what you guys started doing was you just went and did it. You just broke the law. You got a bunch of people together, armed, like you said, to keep it a conversation instead of, fascists giving orders. And so I think 8 years running now, you have just flagrantly broken an immoral law and done so and been completely left alone. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's gotten such a tradition now that when we show up with all the guns on, the homeless people start gathering. They're like, "Oh, there's those crazy people with guns. They bring a lot of good stuff." At first few years, they were a little apprehensive, but it took them a minute to come over, and they were like, "Oh, what do you have the guns for?" And then they're like, "Oh, yeah, but I'll take that coat and sleeping bag and tent," and then they understand that we're there for them, and I guess then the good things happen.
Yeah, so it's a teaching moment. It's for normal people. That's why it's such a powerful form of activism, because you're not preaching to anarchists. You're not preaching to the choir. You are taking something that is obvious to everyone is immoral and an invalid law, feeding the homeless. We're going to do that, okay? But we're going to do it, and we're going to show you how to stand up to the government while doing it. That's the teaching moment. You take somebody that everyone agrees with, and you show them how to set the government straight. And even the homeless people that we're helping, like it happened both the last 2 years I was out there. To me, apparently, like I'm walking by, well armed, like everyone there is, and one of the people on the street waiting in line for the stuff, not catcalled. That is the wrong word, but just kind of like troll shouted at me like, why y'all need them guns? You don't have to be scared of us. And boom, that's the moment. It's the moment I wait for every year. I stop and I go up to this group of people that are all chuckling because all these white people are out there feeding them, but we're scared of them, right? That's why we got these guns. And I'm like, no. The guns have nothing to do with you. They are not for you. We're not scared of you. It's none of that. It's because what we're doing here, helping you today, is illegal. And illegal. And they're like, what? Are you serious? It's illegal? It's like, yeah, even today, even after that church group got, dragged through court for years and they modified the law slightly, it's still illegal to feed more than X number of people without a license and without a food safety permit and blah, blah, blah. What we're doing here today is illegal. The guns are to keep the cops away while we help you. Like, and then you just sit back and you just watch, 30 little minds just blow right in front of you. It's the coolest thing I've ever experienced. That is what I'm talking about. And this lady at the salon had that moment too. She realized that something is being done to her that she doesn't consent to. She never consented to it. And she's just going to stand up and do what's right. And then here you are with the most powerful inspirational activism I see, showing up to support her and to protect her and to defend her and to make the statement. Wow. So thank you for what you do. Thank you. I'm so impressed. No, if I didn't have my family medical situation, I would have literally been there right next to you. So I was like, watching jealously. But how did you guys come up with that equation was it an accident? Did you just decide to do what was right, come what may, and then later realized how powerful it was? Like, where did that come from?
I've been basically, since the whole quarantine happened, looking around me for someone that was willing to do the right thing and open up. And I wanted to throw support behind any of those people. And, she just happened to be the first one, and it took a while. But eventually it happens. So I think all of us should be jumping at these moments, because these are the teachable moments. And, let alone any of these protests, any of these type of situations are great times to join up with other people in the areas of like mind, so that you don't feel isolated, that you become unisolated. Their entire program is based around making you feel isolated and that you are just unable to do anything that is going to be effective. But when you show up at these events, you see these other people doing the same thing, joining forces, energy is combined, and you realize that we can't be stopped and that you're not the only one. You're not just a crazy person out there alone. And I think that is as valuable as anything. I mean, even if it wouldn't have helped and they shut her down anyways, the isolation and the community would be broken, and the community around you and the other activists and the other like-minded people is building that community. And with that is a force to be reckoned with.
So I guess a lot of people have been asking me lately, how do we build that community where we live? 2 years ago, I gave a talk at Anarchapulco on exactly how to actually practically do that. So you can Google that. You can Google that up. It's like a 30-minute talk that is just like slamming you with bullet point list of things that you can do to actually find people and group them together for whatever reason. I love it. It's a great video. And so we get people together, and a lot of them aren't even interested in activism. They just want to know that they're not alone in realizing that violating people's consent is wrong, and that's great. It's just like we've got people that are into farming and prepping and normal life, and a lot of IT people, and some people that are into activism. It's just it makes people feel not alone, like you're saying, and feeling not alone makes you comfortable in your skin, happier. You feel less out of place,
more confident, and it makes you think that you can change more because you can. And so, if we can get more people believing in themselves, I think the change is going to come.
So you showed up. Actually, it wasn't just you. It was a couple local activists, I believe, showed up there to the salon that day. Did you talk to the salon owner much? Like, what was she thinking? Like, what was her attitude generally?
So she was doing really well in front of the camera. She's a musician by trade, also lead singer in a band. So she was comfortable in front of a mic, in front of an audience, And I think that was a really good extra caveat to the whole thing, because she was able to be articulate and get her point across. She she was coming from a very seemingly normal life, not these fringe areas that we are presently in, and so you have to take it with that and understand how big of a step they're taking, standing up in front of the news, in front of the police that show up, and her father, who is a Marine, and saying, "I've had enough." That moment when even the person that is 100% behind what America is doing says they've had enough, that means it's gotten really bad, and we need to foster that. We need to back that. We need to all stand there and not
so that they don't feel alone.
So that they don't feel alone, and that they feel like there is a community out there, that they're not walking into a complete dark forest of thorns and unknown. That there's other people going right on, not just immediately attacking them for the points that for the parts that they haven't universalized yet, for the parts that they haven't quite connected the dots on. Just stop. These people are valuable, and they are people that want the right thing. They want the right thing to happen. And so, if I could say anything to our community and our people, I think that's probably the biggest lesson that we should learn on these situations, is show up to these things, even though they're not 100% complete radical anarchists, whatever you want, but they are the best person to help wake up the other people.
And giving them space and grace to figure it out is definitely in order, because just like with you and with me, because it was the government that woke me up too. It was the government tyranny and control and force in my life that woke me up, and you seeing Waco helped wake you up. Let her have her moment, because she, backs the blue, hashtag. And yet, strangely, it was the blue there showing up and forcing the edicts that she was resisting. And there is no teaching moment that you could provide her with your mouth as powerful as her facing her own heroes. So yeah. All right, Ginger. So yeah, and that's exactly the point of what she went through today, as she got a contempt of court order by another judge, not the Jenkins Antichrist judge that have been giving us our quarantine orders, our martial law orders, but a new one that put her as a contempt of court filing today. Her judge is dealing with, and this is yet just another nail in that coffin that's going to wake her up. That's going to make her go, Let me reconsider this thing. Good guys, and who are the bad guys again? And I think it's going to work. And what I was talking to Larkin about was, like, can you imagine being a cop right now? Because look, most of these cops, they don't think about the ethics of anything they do. They just go in with the default position that whatever they do in their job is moral. And they just want to get a paycheck like everybody else, and they just want to go home and, watch the football game, whatever. But can you imagine, like, being a cop right now? Like, just put yourself in that shoes and, like, get an order to go and run a sting operation on a lady cutting hair in her house? Can you imagine? Like, what do you think? Like, when you get that order, like, it has to be something between their ears. Maybe not, though, because they did it. Like, which...
Okay. But you're kind of coming at it from our mindset. I mean, in all reality, the people that do that are the same people that are wearing the masks still today, even in areas it's not deemed requirement, in and out of the stores. It's these people that watch the news that believe that there is a risk that they're going to die, that the COVIDs is the Ronas is going to take
La
it.
Rona. We're not saying the C word on YouTube.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, but they actually believe the story. So they're doing what is in the best interest of keeping the world alive.
They're keeping us safe by attacking us. Roger that. Okay. So you have a day job that gives you access to a lot of interesting places. Now, I don't want you to tell us what your specific job is or go into anything at all that would, cause you problems. But you were telling me that you had some interesting things that you've seen in relation to this whole La Rona situation, lockdown. So I was just wondering if you could kind of tell us maybe about some of the things that you've noticed as you get access to all these random places.
Yeah, I get access to all of the places. It's one of those things that I don't just get let in the front door. I get the keys and swipe cards and full access to every office, every room, every building, every closet of every building, every government facility, every Halliburton, I roam their buildings at night with nobody there, in and out of every office, in and out of every explosion room, every lab, everything. I get full access. I've recently, this last few weeks, gone in and out of numerous emergency rooms. And I have to tell you, they're empty. I've talked to some of the general contractors that are building for these emergency rooms. They are shutting down several of the locations because they're so slow. They are putting a hold on a couple of them that they were going to open. This is just in the DFW area, and there's no pandemic obviously here. There's not even enough to even warrant precautionary measures.
What I find interesting about your job is it speaks directly against the way that you're given access to everything, speaks directly against any notions that government is providing safety. Because let's just say for a moment, like, you are an anarchist, and you are against the state, and yet somehow they are opening doors for you as a matter of course every day for you to go into all of these secured places. They don't know what they're doing. There is no security being provided here. This is all, theater, right?
It is 100% theater. I have to tell you, I have been in some very, very highly secure locations that they have left me alone in, with very open access to a lot of vital soft bellies of their tech systems. And it's interesting because, I know they know who I am. I've had a couple of times walking through some of the Secret Service and the Alphabet Boys offices back way into their buildings, where I've walked into rooms and several of them have stood up and stared me down the whole time I was in the room, walking by their desk. They knew who I was, and it doesn't stop the situation. I still get full access. And if anything, this should let you know that it is all theater. Security is theater.
So I guess, is there any other lessons or anything else that you'd like to talk to with the Salon situation?
So she had this, cease and desist order at first. She went the next day to the Open Texas event and ripped it up, said she wasn't going to pay it. Of course, now there's a contempt of court order that just came out.
Oh, yes, I have that.
Just a few hours ago. And she's now going to defy that as well. I think if I actually have a few things scheduled in the morning, so I cannot make it. But if people want to come and show up to her Salon a la mode in Dallas, Texas, please come out there and support her. We need bodies. We need people out there letting the government know that we are going to show up, that there are plenty of people that are concerned about the issue, because that's the real thing. If enough people cause a stink about anything, that they will lay off of that one thing. That's how they loosen the little pressure points and the screws to keep us still enslaved and happy. So please show up there. About 9 to 9:30 is when she's showing up. If you want to go out and show support, buy some gift certificates, have a haircut done, get your nails done. They are open for business regardless of if Clay Jenkins wants it or not. So go out there and support them. It's a great thing.
Clay Jenkins is the name of the tyrannical judge issuing all these decrees right now. And people don't see the gun in the room, folks. And this is a teaching moment for everybody out there talking to non-anarchists that haven't been introduced to the ideas of voluntarism and liberty. They don't see the gun in the room of government. And this is the moment to show them, because it's written right here. Like it literally says, it is therefore ordered that defendants are immediately ordered to cease and desist from operating the Salon a la mode business for in-person services, blah, blah, blah. It is further ordered that the clerk shall issue notice to defendants of the hearing on plaintiff's application for temporary. So basically it's just like they are decreeing that free association end, that property ownership end, that the free enterprise end, that this lady's income ends, and they're doing it at gunpoint. If she defies this injunction, she will be thrown in prison on the judge's orders, on the judge's quote-unquote authority. Use this, people. These are the moments. The government hands you all of the tools and teaching moments you need to wake people up. It's like what do the lefties say? They say never let a catastrophe go to waste or whatever. Well, we as activists need to never let a tyranny go to waste, and we're having a lot of tyrannies right now. So make sure you don't let them go to waste.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, definitely show up tomorrow and help support her.
So I guess the last thing that we can talk about is just like, tell us about your new enterprise, your monkey torture network that you're starting up now, and let us know where people can find you if they want to follow you further.
Yeah, this can be at monkeytorture.com. We're doing Monkey Torture Network. It's going to be a 24-hour, 7 days a week live stream of, we're starting out with one channel of me, my life. Here's my camera. It's going to be running wherever I go, whatever I do, 24/7. And we're going to add other people's channels. We're going to provide people with the cameras, the hotspots, and the data plan, and the backup batteries to do this. And it's an unedited, uncensored, complete full Monty platform where you can do whatever you want on it. And I think what we're going to see here is this is going to be a very important platform in the future for people that are out there on the front lines, that people that want to defy the government, so that we can have this uncensored platform where people can get their message out. And I think that's what's missing today. YouTube gets censored if you say the wrong words. If I play too much music and while I'm driving in my car, Facebook shuts down, and we're not going to comply. This is going to be a full-on uncensored network for people. And if you want to participate, if you want your own channel, then please give us a ring, give us a call over at monkeytorture.com. I think this is going to be a vital tool for people out there to do what you want to do and be heard and not be shut off by all of this government-run censorship of all of our media platforms out there, all of our social medias. And there's also going to be a very fun one channel that's going to be best ofs of all the channels to watch. So go over there and get a membership, and it's free. So come sign up.
What I would love for you or us to put together is like an online course for people to teach them how to do this kind of activism, because like, aside from parenting, I literally think it's the most powerful, most effective, most efficacious form of activism in existence that I've ever seen. So I hope you consider that, and maybe we can put that together.
Absolutely. And so, and I guess street activism is a little different. There's political activism, and there's all these other types of activism that brings people to different points in that philosophy. Street activism is a little different because we just work on kind of what you would say is like, how action speaks louder than words. That's what we do. We do action. And when we want to do the thing, we do the thing, and then it's done. We're not asking for permission. We're not begging our masters to do a certain thing. We gather in a group. We become powerful as a large mass of humans whose will is all directed at one goal, and we do the thing.
And so the last thing that I'll say is I'm really looking to focus Anarchast, the channel, at least for a little while, on activism. So people like James Freeman that we had on, people like Murdoch here, actually out there in the world, making a difference, making a change, making the points that people need to see made. So if you know of an activist, small, nobody knows who they are, or big, everybody knows who they are, that you would like to see on the show for an interview to talk about what they do, put their name and contact information for me so that I can contact them down in the comments. Or, you know, if it's like private contact information, IM it to me or message it me on Facebook or on our Discord server or anything like that. Let me know who you would like to see come on the channel to show off and showcase their activism. I want to inspire people, I want to motivate people, and I want to instruct people on how to do it. So with that said, Murdoch, thanks for spending the time with us today. Thank you for what you do. It's inspirational. It's everything that we need, and I hope people will follow your lead. Guys, thanks for watching the show today, and until next time, peace, love, and anarchy.